We want to talk about blue zones.
How they're fake.
Listeners, have you looked into this? Do you want to tell us what blue zones are?
Yeah. Blue zones are supposedly these regions in the world, these like cities or towns that have an extremely high rate of centenarians, like people who live into their 90s
and like
and hundreds,
yeah.
much higher than the average. There's a whole like Netflix documentary.
I have a list of the cities here. So Okinawa, Japan, Nicoya Peninsula, Costa Rica, Sardinia, Italy. I think that one's a well-known one. Ikaria, Greece, and Loma Linda, California. I think the Mediterranean diet has been, so kind of gotten the spotlight because of the blue zones.
Exactly. Yeah, people really take this to heart, and they're like, "I'm gonna rub olive oil on my nipples every day because that's what nonna does."
Living with my mama.
Yeah,
that helps you live a long time.
She just eats moussaka. She ate moussaka every day, and she lived to 105. Well, anyway, it turns out it's bullshit, Brian.
It's a whole load of bullshit. Yeah, there's a narc in the academic community who's been he's being a Karen about this. Yeah. So the way this has come out is that there's this researcher who kind of looked into the records of all of the blue zones and was like, something's not adding up. A lot of these regions are socioeconomically very poor, and their average death is 60, 70. So coincidentally, why do we also have people who are living to like 110?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got some receipts here. Basically what's happening is that it's a lot of fraud.
It's a lot of fraud.
Yeah. People are just collecting pensions off of their quote unquote alive grandparents.
Amazing. Wait, no, I thought it's fraud, and it's also that like the blue zone effect disappears from the year they started to implement like birth records too. So a big part of it is that they just there weren't like people were lying, didn't know how old they were. Shocker that the 100-year-old was like, oh, maybe I'm 110.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I was born in 1910. Maybe I was born in 1940. Who knows? I don't remember. And they're like, you were born in 1910.
Yeah. So this guy who was the whistleblower, once he dived into the records, he found like in 2012, Greece announced that it had discovered that 72% of its centenarians claiming pensions, which amounts to around like 9,000 people, were already dead.
So just scams?
Yeah, they're just scamming.
This is the same thing.
Here.
Remember, Greece loves the scams. Remember during the financial crisis, there were like, everyone had a pool. And everyone was just lying about how much money they had. No one paid taxes. They all had pools. Like if you flew overhead, it's just a scam country. That is in fact that is the most Greek thing you can do. And here I was eating tiramisu every fucking day for breakfast because I believed that that the Greek diet was the way to go. And now what, Brian? What am I going to do with all this?
You're going to have to
herb feta I have in my fridge.
Dan, you're going to have to put down your fucking spoon and walk your ass to a solid core and do the fucking work.
No, I thought I could just be a chill old Italian dude. Just playing dominoes on the beach with my boys. You're telling me that's not enough?
Clearly it's not. This one guy is fucking, he's narking on everybody. Like even in Okinawa, apparently. I mean, I found this so fucking hilarious. So Okinawa, which is basically like, what is it? The Sardinia, Italy. That's like Greece. Apparently it actually has one of the worst health indicators in Japan.
Okinawa does?
Okinawa does, yeah. According to the Japanese government's annual National Health and Nutrition Survey, which has been carried out since 1946. Yeah. While the traditional Okinawan diet is widely seen as healthy, a 2022 study found that the island prefecture today has a higher prevalence of obesity and higher rates of mortality among those aged 40 to 65 than mainland Japan.
Dude, there's no shortcuts. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because the Okinawans are just fucking eating sweet potato and not doing their cardio like they should be doing.
They're not getting into zone 2.
They're not doing that.
Like they should. They're not drinking the Erewhon raw meat smoothies.
That's the shit. I know. That's kind of bummer.
That's what you got to do. How are they getting their collagen? They don't.
Also, what I think is funny is that clearly a lot of these academics are in on this scam because they're probably making whoever. This is, to me, is like Malcolm Gladwell-esque.
Oh yeah, all the social sciences are like all the famous studies from the social sciences. None of them are replicable. Like like the Stanford prison experiment, not replicable. The marshmallow test, not replicable. Like one after the other. Every famous theory that people have about the social that we've heard, that famous one where like they had people electrocute someone in another room. And someone kept telling them to do it, even though they heard screams. And just because someone was telling it to them, they did it. And they were like, "Oh, these people would have killed someone." And it was supposed to show how like human beings will just follow orders. Not replicable.
Oh my god!
Like the social sciences, it's just all complete trash. I'm sorry.
And Malcolm Gladwell is to thank for all of that.
10,000 hours.
Tipping point.
10,000 hours. Wow.
I think as a social scientist, what you just need to start with is like, you got to think like a copywriter at an ad agency. You're just
and then work backwards from there.
What's the mouthfeel of this like trend that I'm just going to announce to the world?
Yeah.
Like Blue Zones, good sound, good feel. It has like a
10,000 sounds good.
A word of mouth.
10,000 hours. That's not. It's so weird that it's 10,000 hours and 10,000 steps. How'd that happen?
I mean, Malcolm Gladwell recently apologized. He did a TED Talk where he apologized for an earlier theory that he announced in The Tipping Point, which was the book that set off his career. He had this theory called like the broken windows theory, where he was just like, if there's a lot of like graffiti and there's a lot of like broken windows, shit's fucked. Like that's why we need more cops. Like we need to clean up the street.
That's what like Bratton and Giuliani did in the 90s in New York, was broken windows theory.
Yeah, I think his work was like prepare. It led to that, and now he realized like actually this has some pretty serious implications.
You're saying stopping and frisking young black men
and
is not gonna stop crime? I thought that was. I thought harassing people in the Bronx is exactly how you reduce crime.
So in this TED Talk, he felt bad. He apologized.
Okay,
and the irony of it all is that he starts it up top by saying like, I don't really go back and review my old works, but I happened to do that with The Tipping Point, and this essay alarmed me on how off base I was.
So now we should just assume that that's the thing with
but
all
the irony.
of his...
But what the irony is,
that's
like
just the one he looked at. So
he has a fucking podcast called Revisionist History.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to do that for his own shit. He's like, I don't like to look at my old
People
works.
just like stories. It's fine.
Sure.
I don't think I honestly like believe in blue zones. Who cares? Like you're gonna die anyway. Believe that if you just eat spanakopita every day, or if you just eat.
Well, clearly this is bullshit. I'm so
Fritti misti for breakfast, like the Nonas do in Sardinia. Then you'll live forever. But no, if you actually want to live forever, you have to be like that psycho 40-year-old dude on
Brian Johnson.
Yeah, Brian Johnson.
Like fecal replacement treatment from his son.
Yeah, he's putting in the work. Okay, he's sucking the blood of preteens just to putting his platelets.
You deserve what you get if you believe in the blue zone theory. Believe in the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Something that has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Allah. But what is ironic, what is pretty funny about this whole thing is that the whistleblower of Blue Zone Theory has been like saying how his journals that he's been publishing, kind of like ringing the alarm bells of this, has been subjected to like more peer-reviewed studies, because he's just blowing up everyone's spot.
Yeah.
So so the guy who coined Blue Zone, he's sweating now. He's like,
and all the other social scientists like, you had to just you went too far. You had to get a Netflix show. We were doing perfectly fine just hanging out in shitty Facebook memes.
I know.
Be like, you have to drink the raw milk like the ladies in Greece. And that was a good place. That's like where the good pseudoscience, raw water, anti-pasteurization. That's a good place for that. Keep that in Facebook. The moment you get to Netflix, people start to look into it.
That's true.
You blow up your spot.
That's true. That's
why I'm voting for RFK for president.
Okay, that was Middlebrow.